Join us now on Six News, Queensland National Senator Matt Canavan. Senator, thanks for being back here.
Good to be with you, Leo.
So, what exactly is going on with this in or out situation with the coalition? Friday night, we're talking. We've seen quite a lot develop over the past 72 hours. Where do things stand in terms of where your party's position is?
Well, the Nationals Party position's been very clear for really over a week now. More than a week ago, we met as a party and decided that some things were very important to us. The so-called 4 points now, I suppose. We're very passionate about using our energy resources and wanting to see the ridiculous ban on nuclear energy overturned in this country. We've obviously fought long and hard to have stronger competition laws to protect small businesses and farmers. So on divestiture. It's very important we invest in proper services in regional Australia. That $20 billion fund we got in the election was important to us. And one of the other major issues in the bush remains mobile phone service. You can see this week with Telstra's being exposed to have what seems to have been fraudulent claims about their service. No surprise to people out here in the bush. We want to have that fixed as well. So that are our what we thought were reasonable requests for any future coalition agreement. Most of that was already, in fact, all of them were already enshrined in previous policy for the coalition. It's not normally a big problem to continue policies that we took to an election. Obviously, things can change over the next election. So that we thought they were very reasonable. Things have moved quickly, as you've said, but my understanding, and I wasn't directly involved in negotiations between the leaders, of course, but my understanding is that the Liberal Party, that Susan Ley wanted to announce a shadow ministry on Thursday, so we had to get back to them by then, and that's why on Tuesday, having those our 4 points rejected, we had to announce that look, well, we won't be forming a coalition. Now, the media had their typical meltdown on that news. They typically overinflate the implications of anything and everything these days. They just can't seem to get themselves out of a constant sense of panic ever since COVID and climate change and Trump, and it's just ridiculous. Our media, they just don't seem to have any sense of perspective. We've had breaks on the coalition many times in the past. It's actually been more normal than not in periods of opposition to have some kind of break, and it's also not, in my view, all that important right now about who's who in the zoo and the shadow ministry. We just got thumped in an election. Shadow ministers have no particular role under our constitution. We're all still members of parliament, can hold the executive to account through that. I mean, as I pointed out on social media this week, last year in the UK Parliament sat for over 30 days without an official shadow ministry. After an election there now, their political parties have a ballot of members to decide the next leader. So they didn't have a shadow ministry for 4 months in the UK. Over that time, the UK government had a record fall in popularity. Never before has a new government fallen so quickly, so fast, and that was without even a shadow ministry. So there was plenty of opportunities still to hold that new government to account. There will be whatever happens with the coalition in the next few months. But look, as I've always said, I want to have a coalition. I think it works well, but if it doesn't work for both parties, it's no point crying over it. We get on with our job.
Yeah, and look, I mean, you can make a point about overinflation. Still, first time in just under 40 years that it has happened, split federally. So there is, some significance of it. The national situation in terms of the election results, he held every lower house seat. You can debate inclusion of Calare or not. Obviously, it was not held by you guys at the election. And your loss in the Senate was really just because of a positioning thing on the Liberal National ticket in New South Wales. Just Perrin Davey being third was really all that cost there. Obviously, you're part of the Queensland Merge Party, the Liberal Nationals there. I guess in terms of the election result, do you hope, and as I said, not so much a problem in a merged party, but when the Nationals are looking to get things like joint tickets in the Senate, are you wanting better positions for that? Because ultimately, being third behind two Liberals did cost your deputy leader her seat.
Yeah, look, that's a matter for the New South Wales Liberal and Nationals parties to work out. Of course, I'd love the Nationals Party members to be higher than lower on any Senate ticket. I suppose the point to make right now in the current circumstances is, as it stands, the New South Wales Nationals Party has 6 seats. They've won 6 seats in New South Wales, and the New South Wales Liberal Party has also won 6 seats. They're equal now. Bradfield might make that 7-6 if that falls to Liberals. Very close, I think tied right now at the moment,
Mm.
unbelievably. But still, basically a draw. And in that environment, there is a very strong case that the Nationals Party at least have the number two Senate spot in both cycles of the Senate, rather than two and three as we currently have. I mean, there's a good case for even more than that if we stay that tied long term. So. Look, it should be based on performance and results. Obviously, the Nationals Party did do okay at the election. I mean, when I challenged for the leadership, I made the point though that we did run as a team. I don't want to absolve us from any kind of guilt, if you like, for the result. It was a terrible outcome, terrible result for the coalition, and we were part of that team, and so we need to reflect on that too. There is no doubt, though, that I think that the Nationals Party is good at running local campaigns. We've got good membership engagement. We stay grounded and connected to our community. Certainly up here in central Queensland, the role I play, we just fight as fight like dogs, cats and dogs for our region. We just go for it, and never ashamed about putting our interests first. I think we get respect for that from our community. We had an amazing result in Gladstone where Colin Boyce, the LNP candidate, won the Gladstone pre-poll for the first time ever for any Liberal National Party. He had a 10% swing to him at the Gladstone pre-poll at this election. And that's a credit for the hard work he does and the fight he shows for his people, the people of Gladstone, the people of Central Queensland. So it's not rocket science politics. That's what we do. I think we do it well. And I'd love to see us grow as a party. I think we can do that in more places across the country.
In terms of where this split kind of originated, you mentioned the 4 points there. We've heard them mentioned over the past few days there. It was interesting to hear that your leader, David Littleproud, he said on the ABC, net zero was not one of those things. The party position is to support net zero. I know you're, to put it lightly, a bit of a critic of net zero. Do you see that kind of issue factoring into, and I know you haven't been part of the direct leader-to-leader conversations, but do you see this factoring in as an issue for Nationals policy or potential future coalition policy? Again, noting you've been very, very critical of net zero.
Yeah, I'd like to see this issue resolved. I think we need a genuine debate about it. It is a potential future flashpoint for, I'd say, both political parties. I'll leave it to my Liberal colleagues to work out. But we signed up to this crazy idea of net zero emissions in late 2021, really with a gun held to our head from a Nationals Party perspective. Scott Morrison said to us that if we didn't, we'd be tossed out of the coalition. So there wasn't really a fair and open debate about that issue at the time. Scott Morrison, to my understanding, Liberal colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even believe the Liberal Party had a debate about it in their own party room. It was a captain's pick from Scott Morrison. And it's sort of strange to me then that while we've never had a proper debate about it among our party rooms, it's become almost like gospel for some of our members that, oh, we can't touch it. Um, and when you look around the world right now, with Donald Trump pulling out of Paris, Mark Carney, even the Liberal Prime Minister of Canada, the left-wing Liberal Prime Minister of Canada, scrapping carbon taxes in his country ahead of their election. Obviously, Asia's never taken this agreement seriously, and China continues to build two coal-fired power stations a week. We've just lost our nickel industry to Indonesia, who have built something like 20 coal-fired power stations to undercut the cost of production on nickel from us. And we've lost what was previously, we were previously the biggest exporter in the world of nickel, 10,000 jobs gone in Western Australia. And even Europe now, post the Spanish blackouts, they're having serious debates about this issue. It's a major issue in the UK politics right now with the UK Conservative Party and Nigel Farage both campaigning directly against net zero. So why wouldn't we have a debate about this here right now? We are, for a centre-right party around the world, we are really out of step saying that we support this. It's a radical idea to fundamentally change everything we do in our economy within a generation. And it is trite and treats this debate with a level of disrespect to say that nuclear is somehow a way of reaching net zero emissions. It is not. Only a third of our carbon emissions in Australia are electricity. So even if you powered the whole electricity system from nuclear and renewables, even if you did that, what do you do about the other two-thirds? It's time, in my view, that we take these issues seriously. There are thousands of Australian jobs on the line in regards to the decisions we make on this issue. We've just, as I said, lost 10,000 jobs in our nickel industry because of our green stupidity. So stop treating the Australian people with a level of contempt. We should know as a parliamentarian that electricity is a third of our carbon emissions, yet we still have senior politicians run around and suggest to the Australian people that if we just do nuclear energy, and I'm a big supporter of nuclear energy, But if we just did nuclear energy, that would somehow let us comply with Paris and reach 2050 net zero. That is absolute rot. And it's about time. I'm sick and tired of being polite about this stuff. Maybe I haven't even been in the past, but let's tell the Australian people the truth. Tell them the truth, do a proper costing on this, and come to a proper decision as a Liberal and National parties whether we support this utopian madness of trying to fundamentally change our whole economy in a generation and for what seems to be very little environmental benefit, if any at all, right now, given the global inaction on climate change.
Yeah, and we'll keep covering the net zero debate close. So I have to ask, because it's popped up in a few media reports only in the past few hours, that David Littleproud's leadership could potentially be under threat over what's going on in the coalition. You, of course, were challenging him days ago. Is he your leader? Are you ambitious for him, as some may say? Are you happy with David
There's
Littleproud
no,
remaining leader?
I'll tell you what, Leo. My view, my view is that almost all of this smoke is being pushed by upset Liberals who are seem to be some of these, not all of them, but some of the Liberals seem to be fighting the Nationals Party much harder than they fought the Labor Party just a few weeks ago. If only they showed the sort of fight they've taken up against the Nationals the last few days, against the Labor Party, maybe we would have done better at the election. But this is all rubbish. I mean, David's done an excellent job. Yes, I challenged him a week or so ago. I thought we needed to have a proper choice post an election of that catastrophe. It was a catastrophic result. But I'll give him his due over the past week. He's been amazing. He's been tough. He's been resolute. He's stuck to his guns. And he's got an amazing victory today. Like the Liberal Party have backed down on the whole 4 points. It's, it's nothing. You can't, I know the media is spinning it other ways because they don't like the Nationals Party. But any disinterested observer could see over the past week, Nationals Party just had a big win for our people. We've made sure we keep nuclear energy there. We've made sure we keep strong competition laws for farmers and small businesses, and we've made sure that we get better services in the bush. So they're all big wins for us. Look, it's wins in a shadow of defeat, though. I want to put that in perspective, right? The bigger win now is to try and win government. That's what we've got to do. But David's done a good job. We are 100% united in the Nationals Party to have these fights, and we've won them. We'll move on now. I think the coalition agreement will be sorted, and then we've got to work out how we present ourselves in the next election to win the bigger fight, the bigger battle against the Labor Party.
Yeah, we'll keep covering it closely. Always appreciate your time, Senator Matt Canavan. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Leo. Cheers, mate.